Morning, everyone. Today I want to have a look at Mark's Gospel, chapter 3. And it's that wonderful passage where Jesus is in a room or in a gathering, and the people, his disciples, come to him and say, your mother and your brother and your sisters are outside asking for you. And Jesus' response was, who are my mother and brother and sisters? You know, anyone who does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. Now, people have analyzed that reading, sort of say, well, that's clearly Jesus must have had brothers and sisters. That's what it says in the book. Until we look very carefully at the cultural situation and also the likelihood that Jesus and Mary grew up in Joseph's family's room, not their room, in their home. So the people that Jesus grew up with were actually his cousins. And yet they lived and worked together. And in that relationship, they'd be considered brothers and sisters. And if we look at the translation of the original term, that is what it is talking about. It's not talking about specifically a brother born of the same parents. But Jesus is also talking a lot about the relationship that we have with him. And he's saying to us, anyone who does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. So I think it's imperative that we do understand what the will of God is, because if we do follow the will of God, then we will be opening ourselves up to redemption, to salvation. And Jesus also teaches us very clearly that if we don't get that right, that the option for us at the end of this lifetime is that he won't know us. You can't come along and say, Jesus, when we were doing that, you say, I don't know who you are. What a terrible thing to go to Jesus and say, Jesus, here I am. And he says, I don't know who you are. And we can only correct that by intimacy, developing intimacy with Jesus. Not to leave Jesus remote, not to leave Jesus in a stable or in a house with wise men visiting, or to leave Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, or to leave Jesus on the crucifix. Jesus is here. I will be with you always, says Jesus, at the end of Matthew's Gospel. I will be with you always. And he is with us if we open ourselves up to it. And we do that by spending quiet time, but time that is dedicated to Jesus. So today, let's reflect on our relationship with Christ and see how it is that we can become his brothers and sisters, and that we can be those people who would be glad to call us. He'd be one of those people Jesus would be glad to call us disciples. You have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll see you again. God bless. Bye-bye.